Hello and good morning, everyone. It is Monday, March 2nd. We have made it to almost the end of the first quarter of 2026. We are going. We are playing World of Warcraft. The new expansion is still in early access for one more day. I've already finished leveling one character. Now I've got to get my second character all ready to go, so I figured, we'll play a little bit of World of Warcraft, chat, and have a good time that way. So good morning. I hope you all are having a good day. I hope that this month brings a little bit of peace. You know, I know that people are a little on edge considering all the news that has been coming out. William Afton, good morning. You are at the zoo. That is excellent. I love the zoo because of pictures. I love taking photos of animals. What's the favorite animal at the zoo you saw today? Our zoo has a raptor sanctuary where you can get really close to bald eagles and get some really awesome photos of, very stern eagles. So I absolutely love that. The bat-eared fox. Oh, you have foxes. That is not fair. I love foxes. We don't have any foxes, so I don't get to see those. We usually have red pandas, but the red pandas never came out. And apparently, allegedly, China has requested for a lot of their pandas to come home, and so we lost our red pandas, which is a terrible shame. Oh, there's no more Discord, actually. My Discord got nuked, so I don't have a place to send them on Discord as of right now, unfortunately. Someday I will have to remake that, but it is gone for now, unfortunately. KFC, you're so happy tonight. What happened tonight? Also, did any of y'all see the blood moon that was out there? I heard that blood moon was super cool. Did y'all see the blood moon? Yes, KFC, tell us what is the good word? What is new today? Being food? I have one memory of zoo food, and it's bad, and I did not realize how much this interaction shaped me as a child. But I remember going with my best friend as a kid. His name was Bobby. Bobby and I went to the zoo with his parents, who I don't want to say they were abusive, but I'm pretty sure they were pretty abusive. And Bobby had hurt his toe the night before and decided to wear sandals, and so he had a bandage on his toe. And for whatever reason, we're dumb kids, he decided to take the bandage off. And his mom was screaming at him, like, what are you doing? You took the bandage off, wearing sandals at the zoo. Now you're going to get an infection, and now you're going to die. Is that what you want? You want to die at the zoo because you took your bandage off? And we did that while we were getting a root beer at the concession stand. So that is all I remember about zoo food, and that was a terrible experience. I've been doing some stuff, and I think this might actually be something with my partner, Gonna go, you talking about doing on date stuff? Is that what you're happy for, going on a date? Alright, this is Murder Row, and apparently we've got to catch 4 snitches for this dungeon. Alright, we're gonna catch some snitches. Love to see it. Talking about doing stuff with your partner, I realize I've got a new fear as I'm saving up for Italy and getting ready to go to Italy with Emmy. I have a new fear, and that new fear is what happens if we go to Italy, we save up $15,000, and we finally make it to Italy. And as soon as we get off the plane, I immediately trip on the plane, fall down, and break my head or break both my arms. And we're in a foreign country that we've saved up all this money and time for, and now we can't even enjoy it because I'm going to be in the hospital the entire time. And that what if scenario is keeping me awake at night, unfortunately. All right, apparently this person is pulling way too much. This is bad. Too big of a pull. This is a bad start. Bad start. We're in some trouble. I don't know why he thinks he's invulnerable, but we're trying. My dude, use some of your defensive abilities. Do something. Holy cow. Can't exactly right now since she lives so far away. It's been hard, but we talked to her. Both want to be an actual serious thing and not some side hustles. That is good. That is usually the hard part of long distance relationships is people kind of forget about them when there's actually someone in front of you. It's a brave new world, right? With internet dating and all those sort of things. Like, I know that there's a lot of people who won't understand that because that's not how it was back in their day, but it seems like a lot of people are doing long distance or online things or meeting through the internet. So, is it immature? I don't think so. I think it'll be judged. I definitely think there's a lot of people who will judge it. But then there's also, I know, like, the cliche story that never works for anyone is we are high school sweethearts, and then we go off to different colleges, and then something always happens there because you're growing in college, you're becoming a different person, and it usually ends in disaster. So I know that that's a trope for a reason. I've known her in person, but she moved away. What comes may come, right? You put it into God's hand. Whatever God's will be done, right? Thy will be done, not mine. So whatever is to be shall be. I could use some mana, Mr. Tank, if you wouldn't mind slowing your roll for a second, so I can get some mana. That would be great. This is everyone's new favorite dungeon, apparently. Murder Row, catching snitches. Apparently that is what people are all about this expansion, is catching the snitches. Alright, let's drink really quick. Let's get a little bit of water while we can. Trying my hardest, but prepared for the worst. Gotta be versatile with it. It's a tough one. You don't want to go into relationships expecting it to fail, but also I think that the whole point of dating, and this is a Catholic perspective that I think the world has lost a lot of, is the point of dating is to discern for marriage, right? So every relationship either ends in breakup or ends in death, right? Every relationship ends in harm, whether it be intentional or not, right? If you do get married and fall in love, one person is going to pass away first, right? So every date either ends in a breakup or in death. So either way, you have to be prepared for that outcome. And I think a lot of people like to just keep it casual, like, no, we can just keep casually dating forever. There's no such thing as casually dating. I don't believe humans were meant to casually date. It's to discern for something greater. And when it does become something greater, then it becomes even harder. Alright, let's drink some water. This paladin is so squishy. This tank is not it, yo. They are struggling. Am I in the wrong gear? Is it my fault? Is it the children who are wrong? Okay, we've interrogated all the snitches, so what happens next? I hate casual dating. I personally date to marry, and I don't know. Shouldn't think of me that sort of. Yeah, I definitely understand not wanting to think that far ahead. I understand what you're saying, but that is, like I said, that is the goal, right? The goal is that you date to marry, and that ends in marriage. But it definitely there is such a thing of too soon, right? I knew I was going to marry Emmy after one date, and I proposed after like 4 months, and that would be, most people would consider that to be too soon. So you don't bring up marriage on the second date, you know. But also, we were at a different place in our lives. You know, when we brought that stuff up, we were a little bit older, and we both knew what we wanted, right? So that was helpful. So you'll get all these rules. People come up with all these rules like, oh, you don't bring up marriage for X amount of time. You don't bring up children or this sort of. But it depends on where you're at. You know, when you're a kid and you're young, yeah, that stuff's a little ways away. But as you get older, it's like, okay, but this is what I know that I want, right? So I know what I want. So why would I play these games? Or like, well, I want to date this person. I don't know what they want, but we'll see over the next couple months. No, if it's not going to work out, it's not going to work out, right? Too many people try and make relationships work that will never work, right? If someone doesn't want kids and you want kids, you're simply not compatible. It doesn't mean either of you are a bad person. It doesn't mean that someone's doing something wrong, but it's better to find out those compatibility things early on, because if you get later in the relationship, there's going to be people who are like, well, maybe they'll change their mind, or maybe this will change, or something like that. And then that's where you run into a lot of problem, where it's like, well, I only married you because I thought you would change your mind, but you didn't change your mind, and now I'm unhappy because I had these silent expectations that I never told you about. Like, no, that's the whole point of dating, is to talk about those things and say, hey, I want kids, you don't want kids, we gave it a try, but obviously this isn't going to work out, so see you later. And that's that, right? That's the end of it. So it's good to have those conversations early on. But again, if you're like 15 years old and in school, obviously that conversation looks a lot different. So can y'all cool it on the damage for a little bit? Darn, they're all getting absolutely slapped silly over here, and I'm running out of mana and ability to do anything about this. Okay, we got one of our cooldowns up. Second cooldown. Heal everyone. All right, I think we're back in this. I think we managed to pull through the clutches. We've got 7% of our mana left. 3%. Oh, it's going to be close. %0 of our mana. There we go. We just barely pulled that one through the clutches of defeat. Chug some water. The early dungeons are so exciting because people, you're not geared up for this. Everyone's learning the fights. It's actually like tough to keep people alive during these dungeons. It makes it a lot more fun when it's not a guaranteed thing. Usually later in the expansion, everyone's already like, oh, we know what's going to happen. We've already done this a million times. We're just running through it. But the very, very start, yeah, you never know what's going to happen. Oh, we get a party. We got a disco ball. And now we've got to be a bouncer. Bounce rowdy patrons towards the exit. Okay. We gotta kick people out of the room. Is that... Okay, we're giving people the boot. bouncers. I like this. This is fun. We're paying a monthly service fee to work a minimum wage job in World of Warcraft. How exhilarating. Who wouldn't want to be a virtual bouncer for no pay? And I slipped in the vomit. That is very excellent. 10 out of 10 realism, World of Warcraft. Alright, we got 5 stars. And we got the Feeling Fielder. What's that do? Tap the emotion projecting lens to let your vibes out in the world. Once for good, twice for bad. Alright, I don't know what that does, but apparently we can put some bad vibes out into the world. Slipping on the vomit. And we got a good performance review, so we even do more damage. Look at that. I don't think that's real world, but then again, how many people are actually getting performance reviews in the real world that are good? So many companies do that whole like, oh well, you know, nobody's perfect, so we don't give out 5s, because you could always have room for improvement, which is like the #1 morale killer in the world, right? Like, does anything make you not want to work for a company more than them saying, well, you did above and beyond, you did way more than we were ever expecting, you worked hard this entire year, we super appreciate it, but, you know, you could always improve, so we're going to give you a 4 out of 5. Or even worse than that, the worst you can get is when you go above and beyond all year, you're working hard all year, you're busting your hump, you're doing all the work, you're doing all the stuff, and your boss says, well, you did so much this year, you're absolutely crucial, we need you, thank you so much, but that is what we expect of you. We expect above and beyond, and we expect excellence. Therefore, we cannot give you a good score because we expect you to go above and beyond. So you didn't exceed our expectations, you merely met them, so you get a 3 out of 5 rating because that is what we expected you to do. That is the worst thing in the world. That is one of the most frustrating experiences you can ever have, is your boss telling you, well, we expect you to go above and beyond, so you're not getting anything for doing all of that. I messed up this fight? Did I mess something up? The boss one-shots you? Oh no, we're talking about real life bosses. We're talking about the frustration of having a real life boss who works you to the bone and then tells you that they expected that of you, so they're not going to give you a good rating or they're not going to give you a raise because of that. That is the worst feeling. This boss doesn't seem so bad in the game though. This guy seems pretty basic. You stand behind the barrel and off you go. I worked in a place like that once, and I will never work for that again. I will never ever go back to a place that doesn't appreciate me like that. Like, I gave myself a panic disorder, anxiety disorder, a permanent mental illness I have because I worked so hard for this company. I was so stressed about the job, and how did they repay me? They laid me off. So like, it's just not worth it. It's not worth sacrificing your actual health for a job. No job is worth your health. In the end, it worked out for the better because I got a better job, but I cannot tell you how terrifying it was in the moment to go through a layoff. And now that's a permanent fear, you know, a new permanent anxiety of, am I really safe in this position? Am I really safe in this job? Or will they just let me go as well? And I know, like, as AI is coming, people are talking about job replacements, like having that constant fear of, can I be easily replaced? Can I lose my job at any time? It's a terrifying burden to live with. And I hate that we live in a country with the at-will employment where everyone has to worry about that, where everyone has to worry about losing their job and their livelihood, their house, their rent at a moment's notice. We shouldn't have to live in that fear, right? Like, I much prefer, and I understand why this doesn't work, I much prefer where contracts, like, okay, we're contracting you to hire for the next 6 months or the next year, so you're guaranteed this job short of doing something, you know, heinously bad for 6 months. Okay, Now I know what I'm doing. Now at the end of that 6 months, that'll suck again when we have to talk about it again, but I would much prefer to have that guarantee for some period of time as opposed to, well, we'll keep you on as long as we want to, but we can fire you at any time for any means that we need. It's horrible. The other horrible thing with AI that I'm seeing, people are posting stories of their bosses being like, well, we bought an AI subscription and the AI said that we could double our amount of work. So why isn't your work doubling now that we purchased you an AI? And it's zero thought process, zero consideration. It's just, well, we purchased a program. The program says that we'll get 2 times as much work done. So why isn't your work doubling? And all they did was buy a ChatGPT subscription, expecting that ChatGPT subscription will somehow double the output of every worker in the entire area. Like that doesn't make sense. But the whole like Michael Scott theory of failing upwards, where people they're hired and they keep getting promoted until they become incompetent and then they stay there, is so true. I think it's actually called the Peter principle, but people know it from the Michael Scott from The Office, where he was a good worker and then he got promoted to management where he finally was incompetent, and that's where he just stays forever now because he's not competent enough to get promoted, but he earned his place there because he was a good worker beneath that. And that's another whole frustration. Like just because you're good at your job doesn't mean you'll be good at managing the job, right? Like just because you're a good checker doesn't mean you can manage the checkers. Just because you're good at office work doesn't mean you'll make a good office manager. Those are completely different skill sets, and it's frustrating how it seems, well, that's the next promotion, right? If you're a good enough checker, then you get to manage the checkout stand. That doesn't make sense. That's not how that works. That doesn't, just because you're good at one doesn't mean it'll translate to the other. And that's such a frustrating thing that I don't think enough people realize, is just because you're good at your current job doesn't mean you should get promoted to the next job. Should you be looking for a promotion? Definitely. But, look at your wheelhouse. Or learn new skills, right? Like, just because you're not a good manager right now doesn't mean you can't become a good manager, right? But management is a skill set like anything else, but I think a lot of people don't realize the skill set isn't necessarily knowing what you're doing, right? If you're a manager, you don't have to know the job necessarily, right? That's why you have good people that you surround yourself with who know how to do the job. Your job is people. Your job is soft skills. Your job is setting expectations, keeping the big boss off of everyone else's backs. It's relying on those experts who know what to do things, right? So that's another misconception. It's really frustrating. It's great to have a boss who knows what they're doing, but I've worked in departments where like the boss above me never did the job that we're doing, so they have zero idea. Their job isn't to be knowledgeable at that job. They rely on the experts to answer those questions. Their job is the soft skills. Their job is to make sure we're not micromanaged to heck and back. Their job is to make sure that we have all the tools we need to succeed. Their job is to make sure we have support. And just because you're good at one job doesn't mean you'll be good at another, I guess, is my whole rant. Good morning, everyone. I see more people joining us. Welcome in. For those of you just joining us, this is World of Warcraft. This is the Midnight expansion. It officially launches tomorrow. We have early access, so we're playing a little bit of World of Warcraft. This game has been out since 2004. This game is over 20 years old now, and it shows its age. I'd be very happy if we got a World of Warcraft 2 that updated these graphics a little bit and rebooted the world. After 20 years is a little stale, but this expansion is pretty good so far. If you haven't played World of Warcraft in a while, so far I think this expansion is definitely a good one to come back to. I don't really have a whole lot of complaints this time around. The leveling is fun enough, the quests are okay, the music is good as always, the zones are cool to look at. It's a good time. So if you were wondering, should I come back to World of Warcraft, well, now might be a good time to come back. Right at the start of the expansion, you get all the excitement, all that sort of thing. It's one of my favorite times, honestly, in MMOs. But I will say that this MMO has made me feel older than ever. Zini Beanie's here. Good morning, Zini. Like it used to be when a World of Warcraft expansion was coming out, I would stay up till midnight plus, and we'd play all night. We'd eat Chinese food. We'd play for 18 hours, and I'm just too old for that. There's no way I can stay up that late any longer. There's no way I can sit for 10 hours and play. Like, I feel so old. You gonna play Crimson Desert? That game looks insane. I'm 100% playing it. I might be wrong on this. I haven't been paying attention. Isn't Crimson Desert a expansion to Black Desert, because I played Black Desert Online when that first came out, and Black Desert Online was fun and it looked cool, but it was way too much of an Eastern MMO for that. And I'm not being racist by that. So there's two different styles of MMOs. There are Western MMOs and there are Eastern MMOs, and Eastern MMOs have a lot of stuff that does not appreciate your time. I can't play it that much. It's a standalone game. Okay, I must be way off then. I'll check it out. I don't think I've been paying attention because I thought it was Black Desert, and I did not like Black Desert Online. It looked cool, but any game that requires that you log on multiple times a day to keep making progress or to keep playing, it's too much. It's too much. I am out of mana, so we're in trouble. So I never liked WoW, but I have such fond memories of spending time with my sister and her friend played growing up. It's like The Witcher 3. Ooh, now that isn't true. I like The Witcher, so that is exciting for me. Real Dio. Also nice to see you. Good morning. Good morning. It's good to see you too. In fact, I need to one of these days. I need to sit down and I need to go back and play The Witcher Blood and Wine. I never played the DLC, and everyone says that The Witcher 3 DLC is like a whole new game, like it's so good, so I really need to go play that. And Zini, you're not alone in that. There's a lot of people who've tried WoW throughout the years, and they never really like played it a whole lot, but they have that nostalgia of like, oh, I played this, my dad played this game, so I played it with him for a little bit, and I have that nostalgia, or you know, my older sister played it, so I watched it. It's like, it's weird that the game is now old enough that people can have a nostalgia of growing up on it, or that their parents played it, and so they tried it and they played it with their parents for a little bit. And like, it's so interesting to see a game have that kind of a legacy. It's really cool to see. But I will say, I mean, it is dated. Like, the whole idea of having to have like a tank, a dedicated healer, dedicated damage, like that is such an old school way of thinking, and I hope modern MMOs don't do that. Zini, thank you for the membership. Welcome to the Waffle House. Thank you. That is $1 closer to Italy. That is $1 that we are going to put towards going to Italy. I've been doing my it's not. I want to say Zillow. It's not Zillow. What's that app for learning languages? Why can't I think of its name? Duolingo. I've been doing my Duolingo. So check this. I got Viera la camicia nero. I would like a black shirt. Un café con zucchero. A coffee with sugar. I'm learning the essentials. I'm getting the language down. The only problem is I know Spanish, and Spanish and Italian are close, but they're not close enough that you can interchange them, right? So like in Spanish you say "Donde está el baño?" Very, very easy. But in Italian, it's not donde. Same thing with like, how are you? Bien, y tu? I'm good, and you? But in Italian, it's bene. It's not bien, it's bene. So they're close, but they're not quite the same, you know? So it's hard because while I'm learning the other language, I have another language in the back of my mind that says, oh, you say it this way. Like, it's close, but it's not quite. Yeah, 80% similar. I mean, they share the same root. They share the same Latin root, the Romantic language. It's close, but it's not quite. So, Zini, since you're Italian American, do you know Italian? Do you speak enough Italian? Because can I ask you, like, if I went to Italy and someone asked how are you doing, and I said bien y tu, that's Spanish. Would they understand what I'm saying? Like, is there enough of a crossover? Like, oh, this guy's trying to say he's good, how are you, but he's saying it wrong? Or would they be like, what is this gringo saying? Let's see. Mirror. Un specchio. That's a mirror. Thank you is Beoroa. Means beer or whatever. Un café con latte. A coffee with milk. Io viva in la America. I live in America. I don't know how much I'll bring it up. Like the other, like negozio, where the store negozio. Such a beautiful language. I wasn't raised with it initially, but I'm confident they'd be able to figure out a majority of it. I definitely think that they would figure out like what I'm trying to say, even if it's not the closest. But my understanding also is, you know, it's a European country, and most European countries learn multiple languages, right? So the chances are I'm not going to need to know Italian. Chances are that they will speak English, but I don't want to be that dumb, ignorant American. You know, I don't want to show up and be like, hey, you know, I'm American, so accommodate me. You're going to speak to me in English because I'm American. I'd like to be able to show like, hey, I appreciate your culture and I'm trying to learn Italian so I can speak to you in your native language. But I would also appreciate if you would speak to me in English because I'm a dumb American and my Italian is not good. That is my hope, is to be able to say, look, I put in the effort to try and learn your language, but I'm not a master of it, so can we switch to English, please, so that you don't have to suffer through my horrendous Italian accent that I picked up from an app. So that is the goal, just to show I'm not an ignorant American, and I tried, but please speak to me in English. But it's also like those simple phrases when you're traveling, right? Where is the bathroom is a very important phrase to learn. Chiesa is church. Where is the church is going to be an important one, since, you know, we're Catholic. Being able to find the church will be super important. Why are you guys standing in the bad? Stop standing in the bad. Stop. What is going on with this fight? Well, too late on that. Okay, so we did something wrong here, because I could not heal everyone through that, so let's reset the fight. I think you're doing more than most do. Maybe learn how to ask if they'd like to practice your English with your Italian. The only reason I know that is because I've seen so many people who are American and they go to a foreign country and they just expect the foreign country to bow down to them and do all the things, and when they don't, then they get upset. And I don't want to be that tourist, right? I don't want to look like a tourist. I don't want to be a jerk. All right, let's look up. What do we need to do? Gotta click the demonic gateway to get over the green wave and stack for fingers on go. Okay, so I didn't do anything wrong. They did something wrong. It is the children who are wrong. I also know there's a great deal of Americans when they travel, they say that they're Canadian because, you know, Americans have such a bad like reputation that they lie like, oh no, I'm Canadian. Don't associate with those Americans, but I'm Catholic, so I'm not allowed to lie. So I have to say I'm from America, and that's gonna be rough, you know. That's gonna be a rough one. Because Americans don't exactly have a good international image right now. So I'm not excited about that. Okay, stack on Fingers of Gul'dan. Alright, that worked. Stacked good. And now we need to go through the gateway as the green comes by. Okay, here comes the green. Hold. There we go. All right. That worked better. They know you're American for many reasons. American ease is easy. Yeah. I know one of the other problems that I will have is I am a loud, friendly, outgoing person, and I know that screams American, right? You have some random dude lumber up to you who's 2 times as big as you, who's like, Bene, ciao, Americana. Like, yeah, I know you're American because you're screaming in the middle of this place because you're so loud and you're randomly talking to me. Like, I know, especially in like Germany, apparently that's like a huge culture shock for Germans, is when Americans just come up and start greeting them and talking to them. They're like, why are you talking to me? We are not friends. Why is this conversation happening? Apparently it's a huge culture shock for Americans who go to Germany, or Germans who come to America. So, but what I'm most excited for the food and the churches, right? I want to visit St. Peter's Basilica. I want to visit the Vatican. I want to visit the artifacts of St. Francis of Assisi, and I want to try all the food, all the coffees. I'm so excited to try all of those. So excited for all of the culture, the food, the experiences. We're going to spend a few days in Venetian area, so you have like the canals and sitting in the canals. Oh, I'm so excited for it. I would do many things that had the privilege of visiting the Vatican. That's the main reason we're going, right? Yes, we are playing World of Warcraft. This is the new World of Warcraft expansion. This is Midnight. We're Catholics, so going to the Vatican is an absolute must. Seeing the Pope, talking to the Pope, getting to hear his mass, getting like a rosary blessed by the Pope. It is a lifelong dream. Alright, that's one dungeon down. One dungeon down. I wonder if we can go get a little bit of gear. I wonder if there's any gear. Maybe it just makes it a little bit better. I need some water for my character. So let's go grab some water and gear. Be an honor to be able to experience a piece of history like that. It would. And I appreciate that the Vatican is open, and I appreciate anyone can go in there. The only downside is, what I don't appreciate is how touristy it's become. Like the Pope Francis was giving a lecture about how disheartened he was to see like all the tarot card and gamblers who set up in the Vatican Square, who like as soon as the mass is over, there's tarot card readers to come take advantage of all the people there. It's like, how can you bring tarot cards to the Vatican? You know, like it's a frustrating experience. And I wish more people would treat it as a holy place and the holy thing that it is, rather than, oh, this is just a place to sightsee. Just restarted StarCraft 2. StarCraft is getting some major love this year. In the next few months, we should see a major announcement from Blizzard that there is a new StarCraft-based shooter that is going to be coming out, hopefully at the end of the year. And I truly, truly think it is going to be a Helldivers 2 clone. It's going to be Helldivers 2, but StarCraft. And I think that is going to be absolutely excellent. If anyone can give a run for their money, it is going to be Blizzard. I'm so excited to see what they can manage to do. So here's hoping that they actually make it, and we'll see how it goes. But I'm very much hoping that we get StarCraft 2, Helldivers 2. Oh, I'm very excited for that. Because if you've played StarCraft 2, if you've played the StarCraft 2 custom games, there is a custom game called Undead Assault. And the Undead Assault in StarCraft 2 is one of my absolute favorite games of all time. And I want that. I want Blizzard to make the Undead Assault, where you have different classes working together to do a mission. There's limited ammo, you're scavenging, you're scrounging, you're doing objectives. Like, I feel like that would be so good. Alright, let's see here. Let's upgrade our gear just a little bit. So we got feet. Let's grab wrists. Feet, wrists, waist. That shoulder pad's not much better. We don't really need a ring. That is a better ring, but that costs too much. Okay, weapons. Staff, that's a little bit better. We're going to buy that one. Okay. A little bit of gear to make us better. But yeah, I really hope that we get StarCraft 2 either Undead Assault or Helldivers. The only thing that I hope that it's not is I'm burnt out on extraction shooters and I'm burnt out on hero shooters. So I'm going to be very mad if they launch another like Team Fortress 2 or something like that, right? We don't need any more extraction shooters. We have enough extraction shooters. Enough with the extraction shooters. Give us something else, please. So that's what I'm really hoping for. But I feel like I'm going to be disappointed. Like, a part of me deep down knows. Zini, thank you for the 5 memberships. Turtle, Taki, Shield, Marauder, and Nguyen. Thank you. Happy Mondays. I love Mondays. You know, I know the whole Garfield, I hate Mondays. I don't mind Mondays either. I think a reason why a lot of people hate Monday is they get these Sunday blues where, like, if you hate your job and your job sucks, Sunday night is hard, right? Bubble's here. Good morning, Bubble. Sunday night is filled with dread and anxiety if you know that you have to go into a place that you hate the next day. But if you got a job you don't mind, it's not so bad. The only downside with my job on Monday is the dread of when I boot up my computer, I know there's going to be emails waiting for me. I know there's going to be a ton of emails, and I hate that. I hate going into 50,000 emails and problems and fires, and usually after about an hour it's all sorted out, but I hate that feeling of booting up the computer and seeing 10,000 emails waiting for you. That is the one thing I don't like about Monday. I finally get to dip my toes into Warhammer 40k as well. I can get my hands on Space Marine 1 and 2. I love the Warhammer universe. I love playing Warhammer, like the tabletop game. I'll play Warhammer the tabletop game. I'll play Kill Team. I love those. I love the Warhammer RTSs. I really like a Warhammer Blood Bowl. The football game is my favorite football game. I really like that one. There's a lot of great stuff in the Warhammer. The only thing that's not good about Warhammer is the community. Holy cow. Especially the tabletop communities is the absolute worst. Those are the worst people you could ever imagine in those tabletops. My ego is prego. Like, you're pregnant? Gonna have your buddy's gonna have a little brother, a little sister? That's super exciting. And perfect timing. Cause I'm trying to get Emmy pregnant. Maybe our kids can be best friends. Maybe they can do the whole growing up together. Congratulations. Oh, that's gonna be a long, tough, fun time though. Oh, that's so exciting. That is the best Monday morning news you can get, right? What a good Monday. Started playing Dark Tide recently and the lore is overwhelming. The lore, that is without a doubt one of the hardest things about the Warhammer is there's like 40 years of Warhammer lore and they constantly are undoing it, they're constantly retconning it, they're constantly changing. It is impossible to know all the Warhammer lore. Due on August 21st. Okay. That's coming right up. So then are you hoping for a boy, you know, so the little brother for you, the kiddo, or do you want a girl so that you can have one of each and done? Which one are you hoping for? I'm gonna guess you're hoping for a girl. I'm guessing you're hoping for a little girl to balance out all the testosterone, all the boy energy in the house. I'm guessing you probably want a little reprieve from all the boy energy. It's a boy, we wanted a girl. Well, I guess you're just gonna have to try again. Third time's the charm, right? And Emmy and I have been talking about that a lot. While we're not quite there yet, we're hoping for a girl as well. We're hoping for a girl, but my family allegedly my family has a curse on it, and that curse is you'll always have two boys. And my dad had two boys, my uncle had two boys, my grandpa had two boys. So I believe in that, but we're hoping to break that. So we'll see, but there's a good chance that we'll end up with boys as well. I believe there is a 50% chance we'll end up with a boy. Don't quote me on that, but that's what my math says. Time for baseball? Alright. Thanks for hanging out, Zini. Enjoy the baseball. I don't know how to say baseball in Italian yet. So I can't say it in that way, but hopefully I'm actually excited. It looks like in the next 2 to 3 years the face of baseball is going to... Oh, is a boy joke? Okay, sorry. The face of baseball is going to change forever. For whatever reason, I hate baseball. I don't watch baseball. But I've been getting a bunch of TikToks about the new ABS system where they have like cameras that are checking on every ball or strike, and it's showing how terrible umpires are at their job, right? Like how many umpires cannot get a basic strike or ball called out properly. So I'm excited to see what happens. Will they truly in the next few years, once the umpire contract is up, will we lose umpires in baseball forever because they are so inaccurate? Like the last game I saw, they challenged 15 calls and were right on 13 of them. The umpire was wrong, drastically wrong on 13 calls. So yeah, the umpire got called out on that. I saw that was ESPN saying, how was this umpire wrong 5 times in a row? It's going to change the game forever. Because right now it's just whatever, basically the umpire says this and you have to go with it. But once we actually can start doing that, that'll be super interesting. The other one that'll be super interesting is to make ABS work. It has to be calibrated. It has to be calibrated specifically to the height of the player. So there's also this huge scandal where a bunch of baseball players magically shrunk overnight. There was a bunch of baseball players that were 6'2", 6'3", and now that they had to be scientifically measured to make the ABS work, they're 5'9", they're 5'11". Like all these 6-foot athletes are all of a sudden 5'7". So something's in the water because half the baseball players magically shrunk overnight and they can't figure out what's going on. So baseball is going to change forever here soon. How long until umpires completely lose it? Apparently there's a really big umpire union that is very, very strong, and they have a contract until 2027. So in 2027, I think, is when the baseball union is going to come together and say, okay, well, we have, I hate to say it, we have AI, and the AI is going to replace you because the AI is more accurate, so we don't want to negotiate with you. You're fired. Bye. Any guy who's 5'9" to 5'11" are all 6 foot, didn't you know? See, I always feel bad about that because, like, I've gone to the doctor, and this is where a little bit of the problem is, right? We're not lying intentionally. When I went to one doctor, the doctor said I was 6'4". Another doctor said I was 6'3". Another doctor said I was 6'2". So I try and stay in the middle and say that I'm 6'3" or 6'4", but like I'm sure if I was scientifically measured, it would be different than what all the doctors said, right? Even on small levels, when I played baseball with my stepdad, I always felt like people had it out for each other. Local teams were playing for, yeah. Oh, there's definitely umpires who have it out for people, and that's not unique to umpires, right? You have judges who have it out for people. You have prosecutors who have it out for people. Like the bias flaws of people are present in every profession, and it's awful. By the way, hello, Dex. All right, now that Dex is here, now that Pokedex is here, I am going to rant about Pokemon for a little bit. Let's put on the bad opinion sunglasses before I get into this. They measure your height and do it several times a day to take an average. Interesting. The new Pokemon starters for Winds and Waves are so overrated and awful. I'm so tired. All right, this is good. I can feel this is bubbling up. This is bubbling up into a rant that I have held in for too long. So I'm going to try and say this without getting too excited because I've been pushing this down for a while. Maybe I'm an old man. Maybe I'm just too serious. Maybe I have a stick too far up my butt. I'm sick of the starter Pokemons. One, I'm tired of like these sassy water types who are a very, very specific type. I'm tired of that. But the whole, like, everyone sees this dog and is like, oh my god, I would die for that dog. Like, if anything ever happens to this dog, I'm gonna kill everyone and then myself. Like, I understand that it's a hyperbole joke. I'm sick of it. It's a Pokemon. You should not be this invested in the Pokemon. Right? We literally have people dying in war right now. We have huge inflation. We have so many problems in the war. And there are people honestly going online and being like, what matters the most to me is this dog. I would die for it. It's so cute. Like, I get it. I get this hyperbole. I get that it's a little bit of a joke. But, like, the world is in such a terrible state right now. The Pokemon doesn't matter. And it's the same thing with, like, Smiling Friends. I was never a huge Smiling Friends fan. It was a funny show. Smiling Friends was a funny show. I get it. Funny show. Apparently, they announced that they're done after season 3. That they're burnt out and they just don't feel like they have any more stories to tell. And there are people online literally writing essays, losing their minds. Like, what do I do with my life? My favorite TV show is being canceled. How can I possibly survive this? Dude, go and touch grass. It is a TV show. It should not matter to you so much that you are legitimately having a crisis because it was canceled after 3 seasons. That is a problem. You need help. You need therapy. You need to go outside and do something else. You should not care this much about a TV show. And people are like, Waffles, you're talking about Pokemon and Smiley Friends. Take your own advice. It's like, okay, but I get paid to talk about this. This is my job. My job is to have bad opinions and get up here and rant about it. If I didn't get paid to say this, I wouldn't be up here saying this. But it's so mind-blowing to me that people's emotional state depend on a fire Pokemon dog. Like, do you not see that as a massive cry for help or a massive cry for therapy? Holy cow, dude. That is my Pokemon rant. The people are taking this way too seriously. And I've seen people who have been going online and arguing about the start. Why are we arguing about the starters? Pokemon's not going to change their mind. They're not going to change the starters. We all know that the Pokemon company doesn't care about us and doesn't listen to us, right? So why... Oh, excuse me. Why do you think writing a 10-page essay on Reddit will even be seen by Nintendo? Like, there's no way that if you say, hey, Game Freak, I really want the dog to stay on 4 legs, there's no way that's happening, right? The dog is going to evolve however the dog is going to evolve. Nothing you say or do at this point is going to matter, because we know if there's one company that doesn't care about or doesn't listen to their fans, it is Nintendo and Game Freak. Like, there is no way that anything we say at this point is going to change anything, right? Like, I also have to rant about Crocs. I like Crocs, but I understand why people think Crocs shoes are ugly. And I did not think Crocs shoes could get any uglier. And then they announced a one-piece crossover, and I'll be darned, they found a way. They found a way to make Crocs uglier, and that was by putting Luffy D. Monkey on the Crocs. It was literally scientifically the only thing that could make Crocs uglier was sticking Monkey D. Luffy on those things. And they did it. They did it. It is now scientifically impossible to make an uglier shoe than a Croc mixed with One Piece. I decided to split my tips with my only coworker yesterday, and a customer said I was too nice. It honestly hurts me a little bit. Why is sharing too nice? There are people who exist in this world. Okay, bad opinion and sunglasses coming off, because this is not a bad opinion. This is a universal truth. There are people in this world who will see you do something nice or kind or wonderful for someone else, and they will get offended. And they will get offended not because you're doing something nice, but because they know deep down they would never do that for someone else, and they take it as a personal insult. They take it as a personal insult because they see someone else is a better person than me. They are doing something I would never do, and that's personally an attack against me because you are calling me out by doing something that I know that I'm too selfish to do. There are a lot of people who exist like that in the world, and it's so sad to see, right? Because it's a chance for self-reflection, right? If you see someone doing something heroic, something wonderful, something selfless, your thought shouldn't be, I would never do that, so I hate them because they're doing it. It should be, wow, I need a lot more to grow. On the same token, though, I will say, especially in America, those feel-good America stories that are supposed to make you feel good about capitalism, you should not feel good about those, right? When you see a story like, oh, a 7-year-old boy spent all year long selling cookies to pay off his friend's lunch debt so his friend was able to eat lunch with him, that is not a feel-good story. That is an American horror story. That is an American horror story that we were letting a 7-year-old child starve at school because he was in debt. How can a 7-year-old possibly be in debt? Or like there's another one that goes on where like little boy couldn't afford a wheelchair, so his local high school robotics club came together and built one for him. That's not a feel-good story. That's a story of a child who was disabled and had needs, and America failed that child and forced other children to work for free to solve the problem. That's not a feel-good story. That is a horror story wrapped in propaganda. Crocs are a blend of sandal, closed-toe shoes, and a water shoe. It ends up being the worst version of all those things. There is nothing worse than the water shoes that have each individual toes. You see someone flopping around in a shoe that you can see each one of their individual toes. That is the worst. That is the worst one. That's because the culture of the world is selfish right now. It's me, and selfish. I can only think for myself. Exactly. That is too much of the problem right now. 100%. Aren't Crocs not supposed to get... Crocs are waterproof. Crocs can get wet. Crocs are for serious stuff. The only thing that's bad... Here's my complaint about Crocs. I bought the Pokemon Crocs with all the starters on them. They were super cute, and the bottom grip of those shoes wore off in less than 6 months. The shoe was unwearable after 6 months. That is a terrible lifespan for a shoe. And because they're so cheaply made, you can't replace it. You can't re-sole a Croc, so it just goes in the garbage, and that's too wasteful. So I'm not gonna get any more Crocs because that is too wasteful. I'm not about the waste of it. I thought the whole point of Crocs was supposed to be they're waterproof, they're weatherproof, they're sealed, they're the amazing shoe. Their special edition was your fault for wearing them. I know, but that's another thing. I will call me a hater. I will hate on this forever and ever and ever, and I know that it makes me a hater. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be a hater. I do not understand sneakerheads. I do not understand the culture of I am going to go wait in line for 8 hours at the shoe store to buy a $500 pair of limited edition Jordans to take home to put on a shoe shelf that I will never wear and I'll never look at again. I don't get it. Why? Why? I used to work with a sneakerhead, and he would wear a $200 pair of shoes. Nothing wrong with that. Expensive shoes, understand it. And every day, he would go to the vending machine, and we'd come back. He would take off his shoes, and he'd have to clean them. Well, I walked in the shoes, now I have to clean them. And during the middle of his lunch, he would take his shoes off because, well, they'll get creases if I wear them for too long. I don't get... Why are you wearing the shoes if you have to take them off every hour so they don't get creases? You have to clean them every time you take a step. That seems so stupid. I don't get it. I don't understand it. 100%. My boyfriend is like that, and I hate it on him every day, as is my right. You chose right not to wear the glasses for this. I don't get it. I don't understand... And I understand if you buy pop figures. I hate pop figures, Dex. I know you have Dex. I know you have a lot of pop figures. I know you're gonna think I'm a hater. But at least okay, I understand you're buying the art to put on your shelf to look at the art. But if you keep your shoes in the boxes, you can't even look at them, right? You can't even look at the shoes because they're in a box. So you're buying something you're never gonna touch, you're never gonna look at, you're never gonna wear. I don't get it. I also don't get the pop figures. I understand why the art, but I kind of think pop figures are ugly, so I don't get that either. I don't like collecting and hoarding. That is my biggest regret. I used to love getting all the wall art and all the gamer memorabilia and paraphernalia, and I don't want it anymore. It's clutter. I don't want all the garbage. I heard the term landfill core, and that is now my new favorite phrase. When I see something, I can say that right there is landfill core. That was designed and created to go into a landfill, and that is now my life goal, is to avoid buying things that are landfill core, that exist solely to end up in landfill one day. And I'm guilty of it. I'm not judging people. I have my fair share of things that I shouldn't have purchased because it was wasteful. I'm trying to be better now. Let's see what's within arm's reach of me that is landfill core. Let's see. I won this at Dave & Buster's. It is a Lucky Kitty, a cheap plastic Lucky Kitty that lights up, and its arm is supposed to move. Landfill core. Oh, sorry, I'm under attack. Let's see what else. What else is in arm's reach of me that I regret buying? Okay, I didn't purchase this one, but YouTube sent me this as a, hey, we feel bad that you're nowhere near good enough to get a platinum trophy for us. So here's a light up YouTube play button. Pity that you'll never be good enough to get one of the golden buttons, but here's a light up button. Let's see. What else? What else is landfill core near me? I completed the YouTube content creator training camp, and they sent me a light up nightlight play button. Let's see. I think I've cleaned up and got rid of a lot of stuff. Alright. Oh, dungeon. I have a bunch of lucky kitties. I was, for a short period of time, I bought a lot of lucky kitties. I've never seen my butt in my life. That's because you usually see YouTube creators who are good and have a popular following. Not landfill core, but check this. I got a tiny Blessed Virgin Mary with stained glass who sits on my desk as a nice little reminder. That is the opposite of landfill core, my tiny Blessed Mother. What else is landfill core? Just look in the mirror. I am not landfill core because I am biodegradable. Ash to ash, dust to dust. Don't you almost have 10k? Be quiet. I'm at 7,525. Not that I'm counting. One of the worst things I think that we have as humans is the death industry, right? Why does my body need to be filled with embalming fluids and preservatives and put in a casket that will last forever, right? Like just dump my body in the ground, ash to ash, dust to dust. Let me return from whence I came. I don't need you to pump me full of chemicals. I don't need a $15,000 casket with a built-in DVD player. I don't need all makeup and to make sure my body looks good. It's a body. Get rid of it. More than I have as a non-streamer. Streaming will definitely give you numbers. Here's where, and I'm always open and honest about this. Here's why I don't have. I know I could have more followers if I listen to all the advice out there. The problem is I try and do too much, right? I stream, I do photography, I do Pokemon, I do Dungeons and Dragons, I do Catholicism, I do life advice, I do everything because I've always wanted to do my own thing. And the problem is that so many of those groups are overlapping that it's very hard to find a niche audience, right? Because like all the people who watch me stream generally don't care about my videos. And the people who are interested in my photography videos aren't interested in my Fallout videos. And the people who are interested in my Fallout videos aren't interested in my Dungeons and Dragons videos. And so what happens is I have a bunch of competing and overlapping interests. And so it's very, very, very difficult for me to grow because people will join my channel. Like you can look, if you go to on your like website, if you go on your desktop and you go to YouTube Studio, and you ask the YouTube Studio AI, what causes the most people to leave my channel? It can pull those analytics. And for me, 70% of my audience subscribes because they watch my live or they see a YouTube short that they enjoy. They click on my channel, they subscribe, and then they go to my front page and they see all the Catholic content, and then they immediately unsubscribe because they don't want to be associated with a religious nut. right? So if I separated out the channels, I could grow much faster in all the things. But I don't want to do that. I've never wanted to do YouTube to meet other people's expectations or to do what I want to do what I want to do. I want to talk about Catholicism. I want to talk about video games. I want to talk about photography. I want to talk about Warhammer. I don't want to have 50,000 different channels. Like, well, this is my gaming channel, so we only talk about gaming here. If you want to hear about Catholicism, we have to go over to the Catholic channel. I hate that. I'm not going to play that game. So could I grow more and faster if I played the game? Yes. Do I want to? No. Hub and I were talking yesterday about we're past a huge cemetery. It's like, how long do you want to wait before they dig you up and use your plot for someone else? Yeah, that is a huge problem. Like, why do we have all this wasted space for the cemetery? We can't use that space because there's someone buried there. I get that the body needs to be respected, but we don't need to waste all the space. We don't need to waste all the money. We don't need to waste all the time. And I understand funerals are for the living. I understand that the whole, like, the funerals exist for those who are still alive. But I don't want my funeral to be this whole thing, right? I don't want to. You know how mad I'll be if I found out my family spent like $15,000 on a funeral for me? Wasting all that money? I would hate that. I can say honestly, I had similar feelings when I first found your live a while ago. I quickly changed my mind. Even your prayer has a particular different inclusive feeling. I truly believe that is because my prayer is a genuine call for things that I believe in. There are so many people, and this is my problem with so much Christianity. So much Christianity is performative. When people do a prayer in public, it is a performative prayer. They are trying so hard to get everyone to think, oh wow, this person is so religious and pious. And this is something I wag my finger at the Protestants all the time for, is Protestants are very guilty of having prayers where they're using all this convoluted ye old language to make themselves sound so pious, like, oh almighty ever living God, hear my prayers up above in heaven so high, ye who is so strong, ye who moves mountains, ye who is ever faithful. It's all performative. You're saying that not for the benefit of yourself. You're saying that so other people are like, wow, look at how good at praying this other person is. And then literally that's what the Bible preaches against, right? It preaches against going out and showing people how pious you are with how good your prayer are. Your prayer should just be a conversation with God. It should be a genuine, wonderful, and loving thing. But the problem in America altogether is, like, if I could, I would say, and maybe I don't have any statistics to back this up, but I'm going to say, I would say at least 80% of Christianity in America right now is performative. I would say the vast overwhelming majority of people aren't actually Christian. And what I mean by that is they don't actually follow the teachings of the church. They don't follow the teachings of God. They are Christian because they like going to the church. They like feeling better than other people. They like beating other people down with their Christianity. If we actually gate-kept Christianity and said, okay, in order to call yourself a Christian, you must at least go to church 30 times a year. You must give X amount of money. You must do these sort of things. If we actually gate-kept it and said, okay, let's see who's actually a real Christian, those numbers would drop so fast. Even if you look at Pew Research, who does a lot of great research for like Catholicism, something like 70% of Catholics don't believe in the holy presence of the Eucharist. Okay. You don't even believe what you're supposed to believe in, right? Like, you call yourself Catholic and you don't even believe a fundamental foundation of the faith, well then are you really Catholic? If you don't actually believe in the faith, are you really Catholic? So if we said, okay, we're not going to count you as Catholic if you don't believe all the dogma and don't do all the things, Catholicism will quickly drop from 1 billion to maybe 300 million. Like maybe 1 or 2 states worth of people. That's it. But we don't. we say, well, you were born Catholic, so you're always Catholic, so we'll count you as Catholic, so that number shows as 1 billion strong. The Prayer from Talladega Nights is the best. I never saw that movie. That was one of those movies that was really popular that everyone was quoting when I was like in high school, and I missed that one. I don't know that one. I never saw the movie. Maybe I should watch that movie. I heard it was good. Go watch it. I will add it to the list. By that definition, all Protestants are atheists. I mean, not to be a Protestant hater, but they might as well be. So many Protestant denominations are, hey, we like this pastor who has a 2-year degree from the back of a cereal box who wants to interpret the Bible for themselves, and they're just going to make up whatever they want to make up. Like, there's so many problems with that. And I'm saying that as someone who was in the Protestant church, who lost faith in Protestantism because I saw all the flaws that come with no central authority, that whoever is in charge just makes up whatever they want to be the truth. And like, this is my biggest pet peeve, and I will always stand by this. You have so many Protestants who will tell you, well, you need to read the Bible so you can interpret for yourself. And I think that is horrible advice. You should read the Bible. Everyone should read the Bible. No complaints there. But we live in America. We live in a world where we have a 6th grade reading level, if that. How can you possibly expect the average American to read the Bible, which is a compilation of books from thousands of years ago in a culture they don't understand, with a context they don't understand, and have any hope of properly interpreting that? That's why whenever someone says, well, I interpret this phrase to me, I don't care. I'm sorry, I know it's rude. I don't care. I don't care what you believe the Bible says or what you interpret to say, because there's no way you have the training and education to possibly even begin to hope to understand the Bible. And that is why I trust the Catholic Church's interpretation, because you have 2,000 years of tradition of people reading the Bible, trying to understand it, and piece by piece building upon the foundation of those who came before them. That is the only chance we have at hoping to comprehend the vastness of the Bible. So it's so frustrating when someone comes in and says, well, I read the Bible and I interpret it to mean this way. Okay. You got a C in English in high school 50 years ago and you haven't read any other book since. Like, what does your interpretation matter? And then you have the other people who, this was the most outrageous thing someone ever said to me. Because I ranted about this before, and someone's like, well, actually, if you truly believe in God, then the Holy Spirit will come down on you and he will interpret the Bible for you. And this was 100% their claim. They said that even a person who was 100% illiterate and couldn't read English, if you gave them an English Bible and they believed in God, then God would give them the ability to read that Bible in English and fully understand it. And they truly believed that. I truly believed that if you had enough faith in God, then you could read any Bible in any language and fully understand it. That was the most outrageous thing I have ever heard anyone claim. And sure, God can work some miracles, so if God wants you to be able to do that, definitely, but that doesn't happen for the average person. You can't go to a foreign country and say, here, read this and fully understand. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Us Orthodox, on the other hand, we have a reform every 150, 200 years, which creates a small group of outsiders. Yeah, well, the Catholic Church is going through that right now too, right? We have the whole SSPX that is schisming from us. That has formally announced they are going to schism. So the Catholic Church has its problems too. Don't get me wrong. There's definitely a fair share of issues within there, but There's a level and line people never see. I deeply agree with you. I do not believe in God itself, but I do believe Jesus and his teachings fairly deeply. Even as a Buddhist, love comes first. The problem is, what does love mean? And this is where we get in trouble with these conversations. Because you'll have a lot of people who say, well, if Jesus said love comes first, then why won't you let me do X, Y, Z? And that's because when we say love, we mean something completely different than when other people say love. Because with God, it is an objective meaning of the word. Moral, love, faith, obligation have a objective, static, never-changing meaning through God. But when you don't have that foundation, then love can mean whatever you want it to mean. And that is the problem we run into these conversations. Even when Protestants and Catholics are trying to talk with each other, they're talking past each other because they have different meanings, and they're saying things to each other, but those words have different meanings to them, so they can't have a good conversation because they're saying words at each other that have different meanings. So that is where there's a lot of problems in trying to have conversations. And by reform, I mean an emperor or a czar goes ham on us. True about love, does a mother that says no to a child that really wants sweets love the child if the child really wants the sweets? That is exactly the problem. And that's where, like, when it starts getting into politics and other things, it's so hard to have a good conversation around it. Ooh, we got a bizarre bite. That is money in the bank. There's an Orthodox church that's near me that we always drive by that we want to go into and experience an Orthodox service. Because I've never experienced an Orthodox service, but I also know that the Orthodox Church has a lot to do with dressing properly and following the traditions properly. I don't feel like I can properly be dressed and appropriate within the service. So I haven't gone yet because I'm not quite ready. I need to watch it once or twice online to make sure that I do everything properly, that I'm respectfully doing things properly within the service. I have love in my heart for everyone. I want everyone to succeed. I'm unafraid to do my part, and even more bringing people to peace, even if they truly believe it's not my place to care. That is one of the wildest things that you'll see, is that people will say, well, don't pray for me. I don't want you to pray for me. Well, my dude, I'm sorry, but that's not your choice, right? Like, and then they'll get offended. Like, well, I'm asking you not to pray for me. You need to respect that. Like, respectfully, I don't care. You can't ask someone not to pray for you. That's not how it works. Now, I 100% understand if you don't want someone to stand over you in public and, again, do the whole, like, oh, great and wonderful God, who is so beautiful and greater than us, help this wicked soul. Like, I 100% understand that. But you can't ask someone not to pray for you in private in a loving way. Like, it's simply not something that can be achieved. But I understand not wanting to be prayed over in public. That I get. Again, especially from the people who are doing it purely for optics and they don't actually care about anything properly. As long as a woman covers her hair and there's no ostentatious show of skin, it's okay for adults. People come in jumpsuits to service here and know that if you get unlucky, you can run into a... Ooh, cliffhanger. If you get unlucky, you run into... a 4-hour mass. You know, I understand that, like, I know why kids hate Easter Mass when it's like 3.5 hours long. I get that it's long and it's hard to sit there for a long period of time, but also, like, Excuse me. As an adult, I absolutely love a long mass. The only time I ever got frustrated about a long mass was when I stupidly scheduled a movie ticket right after mass. It's like, hey, Father, done with your preaching, we're going to go see a movie. And then there was that day, Father decided for whatever reason that he wasn't going to end mass on time. Or he ended mass on time, but then he decided, okay, I'm going to now do 20 minutes of unrelated announcements, and we're going to talk nonstop about parking lots, and we're going to talk about all these other things that they're not related to the mass, but I'm going to talk about it now. It's like, okay, I can't leave, but also I have something to do, but you're not doing the mass anymore. Now you're just doing announcements. Like, that's one of the things that frustrates me so bad about announcements at Catholic Church. I understand we're a parish. I understand we're a community. I understand I should care about it. But it frustrates me that after the mass, I'm ready to go do my stuff, and I say, okay, wait for 15 minutes now. We're going to talk about this group doing this and this activity over there. It's not related to me. It's not pertinent to me. I don't want to hear about it. But also, another thing I'm going to wag my fingers at Catholics you're very bad about. It is so frustrating when a Catholic group will come together and say, our men's Bible study attendance is down, and we need more men to step up and care about the men's Bible study. It's weekly. We want you to come. It's like, well, great. I would love to come to the weekly men's Bible study. When is it? The men's Bible study takes place at 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning. You mean during the workday? Do you think that maybe attendance is low because all the men are at work at 10 a.m. on a Wednesday? It's so frustrating that they can't see. Well, why is attendance for all of our stuff so low? Because you schedule it at Tuesday at 3 a.m. or 3 p.m. when everyone's at work. Like, all the old people run all these groups, and I get that you're retired, but if you made your groups at 6 p.m. or maybe like Saturday afternoon, a lot more people will be able to do it, because we're not going to waste our PTO on going to an event weekly. Like, it's just not going to happen. And so many of the groups, so many of the Catholic groups, again, love the old people. God forgive me. Through my fault. Emmy and I wanted to be servers of the Eucharist, where we would after Mass, we would take the Eucharist in a little pick, and we would drive it to someone's house who couldn't come to Mass because they're wheelchair bound, or they're sick and they couldn't leave. They required us to take time off from work to come to a meeting, and then they wanted us to sacrifice every Saturday for the rest of our lives for 5 hours doing this job. One, that weekly meeting could have just been an email. So, like, if they would have just made it an email, that would have been easier. But you're expecting young Catholics who are going to have children, who are going to have lives, to give up every... How can you possibly expect every Catholic to give up their entire Saturdays every week to do this thing? Like, yes, it's a beautiful thing, but how many of them have kids, sports, activities, other things? Like, if you would actually get someone in here who knows how to sort a group together and say, okay, we're not meeting in person, this is going to be emails, we're going to ask for small commitments once a month of 1 hour. Like, you would actually get these groups working, but they don't work because you have old people who are stuck in the 1950s. Like, no, we have to have a meeting at 7 a.m. where everyone has to take time off from work to come together and do this. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You need young blood in there who actually knows how to organize a meeting, who knows how to use email, put this together with realistic expectations, and then it would work. But until that happens, these groups are just going to die off, because there's no way to make a Bible study at 10 a.m. work for your average person. We have the same thing with singing. Remember, we have no organs. Our instruments are our voices. Not enough kids and adult men that want to be cantors every day, every week. But when you check when the choir meets, you only find out girls and old women who can do it. Exactly. That is exactly the problem. And like, our choir has this problem with, like, if you sign up, then you're dedicating yourself to this mass for the rest of the foreseeable future. Well, that's great and all, but like, we can't make it to the 8 a.m. mass every single Sunday. Sometimes we need to go to the Saturday mass. Sometimes we need to go to the later mass. Like, life is so complicated and busy. There's no way to commit to one mass for all of eternity going forward. Like, it's not a realistic expectation. And that's why you can't draw anyone in, because it just doesn't work. Okay. I am done ranting. I have to go get ready for my actual job. So let's end with our prayer as always. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Amen. Lord, thank you for this blessed day, and thank you for all that you do for us. Today we continue to pray for peace as we enter into war, as lives are being lost, as people are dying for politicians happens daily. Lord, help to touch our politicians' hearts and bring about an end to war. We pray for all those suffering with mental illness, whether you be in a hospital, whether you be alone on the streets, whether you be surrounded by people but feel alone. Lord, help those of us with mental illness. We pray for those who don't have enough, whether it be food, water, love, shelter. Lord, help to provide, and help us, the brothers and sisters in Christ, to see those needs in our community and open our hearts to them and provide more for them. And finally, as a special intention for prayer today, there is a young child who just underwent surgery. He is out of surgery and recovering well, but it is not the end of the road of recovery for him. He'll be going back into surgery soon. He is undergoing so much for such a young child. Please keep him in your thoughts and prayers as we hope this young child has a chance at life and has a chance to experience the fullness and love that Christ has offered us. All this we pray in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. All right, everyone. Let's turn that down. I hope everyone has a wonderful and blessed day. Thank you for hanging out with me today. It is Monday. Zini, thank you for all the donations. That goes right in my pocket for Italy, so you are making Italy happen for me. It was great to hang out with you all again. For those of you who are new here, I stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, so we'll be back at it on Wednesday morning. Go and have a blessed day, everyone, and we will see you again soon.